Just months after the release of Grand Theft Auto V all the way back in December of 2013, Rockstar Games announced on their newswire, "For those ready to jump back into the story of Grand Theft Auto V, we have big plans for substantial additions in 2014, continuing Michael, Franklin, and Trevor's action, mayhem, and unexpected adventures in southern San Andreas." Obviously, these substantial plans never happened. Reports have emerged over the years painting a picture that the story DLC for Grand Theft Auto V was around 60 to 70% done, but Rockstar ultimately scrapped the project and instead focused their attention on the money-making Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, the story DLC was not completely scrapped. Many of the assets, like probably new cars and weapons, have reportedly been used as DLC for Grand Theft Auto Online, but the original plan and the voice acting that was completed was canned. So yeah, if you recall, Sean Fanteno, who played Franklin in Grand Theft Auto V, multiple times teased his work on a story DLC, and likely his work was completed, it's just we will never get to see it. Now, just last year, Imran Sarwar, Rockstar Director of Design, finally officially cancelled the Grand Theft Auto V story DLC, and he claimed that in the future they would do big single-player story DLC like Grand Theft Auto 4's episodes from Liberty City and Red Dead Redemption's Undead Nightmare. He told Game Informer, "We would love to do more single-player add-ons for games in the future. As a company, we love single-player more than anything, and believe in it absolutely. For storytelling and a sense of immersion in a world, multiplayer games do not rival single-player games. With Grand Theft Auto V, the single-player game was absolutely massive and very, very complete. It was 3 games in one. The next-gen versions took a year of everyone's time to get right, then the online component had a lot of potential, but to come close to realizing that potential also sucked up a lot of resources. And then there are other games, in particular Red Dead Redemption 2. The combination of these 3 factors means for this game, we did not feel single-player expansions were either possible or necessary, but we may well do them for future projects." Well, here we are just about 2 months after the launch of Red Dead Redemption 2, and many, including myself, wonder if we will see single-player post-launch support for a game that was built with a single-player focus in mind. The online features narrative elements, but it just isn't very interesting, and the quality is lackluster compared to the phenomenal story and characters of Red Dead Redemption 2's single-player component. I've been saying this for a while, but I definitely feel if there is a chance for single-player DLC, it really depends on the success of Red Dead Online. And let me actually rephrase that. If there is a chance for single-player DLC, it will only happen if the online does not blow up like Grand Theft Auto Online, and right now I'd say the chances of that happening are slim to none. I base that on this being set in the Old West, which is not a draw for everybody. The online has potential, but first impressions matter, and so far the mode has a lot of issues as well as a lack of content. Just looking at the trophies and achievements of Red Dead Redemption 2 on PS4, 92.7% of owners have received the first story trophy, while just 34.9% have completed the online's first trophy, which you receive after completing the introduction. With Xbox One, 85.37% have received the first story trophy, while just 37.09% have completed the first online achievement. Comparing this data to Grand Theft Auto 5's, there's a clear difference, but obviously Grand Theft Auto Online has been the draw for the last number of years, and why many even pick up this game nowadays. But still, it's very interesting. I'm sure Rockstar would love for Red Dead Online to have these numbers, but I doubt it will ever come close unless the online receives some game-changing DLC, and I do not believe properties or heist missions will accomplish that. Now, for the rest of this video, I want to discuss and break down what Red Dead Redemption 2 single-player DLC could be if it happens. There has been some interesting hints and leaks over the last few months that indicate that Rockstar may be working on some more single-player content. So we're going to go in order, starting with what is most likely for single-player DLC, and we'll finish with what is the least likely possibility. This is based on the hints and leaks we have right now, as well as my personal opinion. But right now, the single-player story DLC that I believe makes the most sense is a Red Dead Redemption 1 Remake and Red Dead Redemption 2. Long before the release of RDR 2, many believe that this could eventually happen. This is based on rumors from unverified sources, as well as Take-Two Interactive shutting down a mod that would have put Red Dead Redemption's world in Grand Theft Auto 5. But personally, what I think is most interesting is the fact that 2/3 of Red Dead Redemption's world is already in Red Dead Redemption 2. And additionally, if you glitch over to Mexico, a lot of the landscape landscape and even the environment clearly has been worked on for whatever reason. But as we move further into this video, we are going to start getting into spoilers, so here's your first and final warning, because after you wrap up the story of Red Dead Redemption 2 and you are now playing as John Marston, there's a very interesting glitch that has happened for multiple players.
Hi there.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Morning, partner.
So, what the hell are you doing back here? Oh, come on. Excuse you? Oh, come on.
Morning, partner.
Another day.
You have a fine morning, ma'am.
Another day.
So if you don't know who that is, that's the voice of Jack Marston, and after you conclude Red Dead Redemption 1, you play as him, which many believe this could be a sign that Red Dead Redemption will be featured as DLC in the future. As you can see in the footage playing right now, I went back to playing Red Dead Redemption and tried to see if I could duplicate the dialogue in the videos, but so far I have not had any luck, which makes me wonder if this is newly recorded voice work or just old, maybe unused dialogue. It's difficult to say. Either way, I do think a Red Dead Redemption remake makes a lot of sense. There are some lore inconsistencies, and I think Rockstar could certainly fix these issues now, and what I'm referring to is all the mentions to 1906 being when the gang fell apart, when it was really 1899. This could also be a way to continue Jack's story a little bit and give a proper conclusion to his story, telling us what happens to him after he kills Edgar Ross. Would also be interesting if some of the gang members in Red Dead Redemption 2 make a return or interact with Jack. There's definitely many ways that a remake could work for those who did not experience Red Dead Redemption before, and for those who already did. Right now I think this single player DLC possibility makes the most sense, and it would benefit the online by bringing a Mexico expansion that could bring much more new content. The next possibility is an Undead Nightmare 2 story DLC, or something to do with the supernatural, maybe this time around cowboys versus aliens. I base this off of all the strange supernatural things that can be encountered or found in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a few encounters that you can have with flying UFOs, there's rock paintings of aliens, and a lot more. Red Dead Redemption's zombie-themed Undead Nightmare was a massive success, and was arguably one of the best story DLCs ever made for a video game. The story was also a non-canon adventure with John Marston, and a lot of the characters featured in the original single-player story made a return, like Landon Ricketts. Now with Red Dead Redemption 2 being centered around Dutch's gang, I would imagine if there is a story DLC like this, it would be focused on one single character and probably not including all of the gang. Voice work takes up a lot of time, and I just don't see how it would be possible or profitable to have a supernatural story with all of Dutch's gang involved. It took the main cast reportedly 3 to 5 years to give us the 60-hour story of Red Dead Redemption 2. So if we do get something like this, it would have to be Arthur Morgan, maybe as the protagonist in 1899, and for some reason not being around the gang, or maybe it follows someone like John Marston or Sadie Adler in 1907 when the gang is broken up. But the next possibility is one involving us taking the role of either Sadie Adler or Charles Smith. We already know what will happen to Dutch Vanderlyn, John Marston, Abigail Roberts, Bill Williamson, and Javier Escuela, but there's multiple gang members that are alive in 1907. We don't know if their past catches up to them like they did for John and many of the other gang members. Following a new story maybe a few years or months after the events of the epilogue, and maybe even right after the events of Red Dead Redemption 1 could be interesting. We know that really only Sadie Adler and Charles Smith are still somewhat living the life of gunslingers by 1907. This doesn't include Dutch and the other gang members that were featured in Red Dead Redemption 1, but Charles did state he was going north to settle down, while Sadie was going south to continue her bounty work. So maybe this makes the most sense for Sadie Adler, but following a brand new story, giving us insight into what happens to her after Red Dead Redemption 2 concludes could be fun. She personally is one of my favorite female characters in a video game ever, and I really would love to know what happens to her. Now the next possibility is one I've seen floating around, and I do not see it happening happening, but I will mention it. It's a prequel to a prequel in which we actually take part in the Blackwater robbery that we didn't get to see or take part in. Personally, I don't really see the need for this, as if you read through Arthur's notes and or listen to dialogue, you can get an idea of what happened. Additionally, this would be another story that we already know how it's going to conclude. I saw some people saying maybe we take the role of Landon Ricketts and see the other side that was trying to stop Dutch's gang with the Blackwater robbery, and the only issue I have with that is Landon is only mentioned in Red Dead Redemption 2, and I think it's for a reason. The voice actor Ross Hagen passed away in 2011, and I don't believe Rockstar wanted to or wants to recast the character, so I think this possibility is unlikely to happen, in my opinion. Now, the last possibility is following a new character in a new story. This could happen, but there's just so many interesting characters already established that I think many players would love to play as, which includes, like I said before, Charles Smith or Sadie Adler. But as I stated early in this video, a single player DLC for Red Dead Redemption 2 makes a ton of sense, and I believe with all the possibilities here, if it doesn't happen, the days of Rockstar single player DLC should be considered over. Times have changed in gaming, but I really want to believe Rockstar can or even should be able to make single player DLC like the one CD Projekt Red made for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Those two story DLCs alone for that game could have been separate titles with the amount of new content featured. Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold over 21 million copies, and the reason why was for the amazing single player component, not the online, and I can only hope Rockstar does not forget that. Based on a Twitter poll that I put up just a few days ago, it looks like many of you are cheering for a supernatural DLC like Undead Nightmare, so we can only hope right now, we'll see. Anyway, what piece of single player DLC do you wish to see the most, and do you think single player DLC is even possible? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for much more Red Dead Redemption 2 content to come, and remember, Outlaws to the end.